Life is hard. Not hard in a dramatic movie kind of way, hard in a boring, stupid way. You buy a new pair of shoes, leave the house, it rains, you step in the mud, and that's it. Something small and irrelevant in the grand scheme of things is already enough to generate anger, frustration, bitterness. Not because the shoes matter, but because you matter. At least to yourself, for a few seconds. After that, maybe silence comes, maybe the inevitable thought arrives. Why did this bother me so much? And when you really stop to think, not superficially, but with brutal honesty, you reach an uncomfortable conclusion. None of this matters. And it doesn't matter in a way far deeper than we would like to admit. But here's what makes it worse. We know it doesn't matter, and yet we can't stop pretending it does. We wake up, we go through routines, we chase goals that we ourselves invented. We get upset when traffic is slow, as if the universe owes us punctuality. We celebrate birthdays as if the number of times you've orbited the sun is an achievement. We build careers, accumulate possessions, curate identities on screens, all while knowing somewhere deep down that none of this survives us. The Earth has existed for about 4 billion years. For almost all that time, there was no conscious pain, no hope, no questions, just chemical processes, collisions, extinctions, repetitions. Then, at some absurd point on this timeline, life emerged. And long after that, something even stranger happened. Life began to realize that it existed. Consciousness was not a gift, it was an accident. Think about that for a moment. Consciousness, this thing we value above everything else, this capacity to think, feel, remember, dream, it wasn't planned, it wasn't designed. It's a biological fluke, a side effect of neural complexity that happened to survive because it made organisms slightly better at not dying. That's it. We are the descendants of the lucky ones who were paranoid enough, anxious enough, self-aware enough to avoid being eaten. Evolution doesn't create meaning. It creates survival. Everything else is byproduct. The planet seemed perfect. Acceptable temperature, functional gravity, liquid water, oxygen, food walking around. All of this creates the dangerous illusion that we were made to be here, as if there were intention, as if there were purpose. But intention is a human concept. The universe does not think, it happens. We won the cosmic lottery, not because we're special, but because we're the only ones left to notice. If Earth had been slightly closer to the sun, we'd be Venus. Slightly farther, we'd be Mars. A few degrees difference in planetary tilt, a slightly different chemical composition, a comet impact at a different angle, any of these would have made consciousness impossible here. And the universe would have continued exactly the same. No grief, no loss, no acknowledgement whatsoever. Still, we built tools, language, myths, gods, empires. We worked together, then killed each other over symbols, imaginary lands, abstract ideas. We called this progress. We advanced a few million years, and here we are. Computers, rockets, social networks, billionaires playing at colonizing space, while millions struggle to survive on the surface of the same planet. And what have we actually accomplished? We've built systems so complex we can barely understand them. We've created technologies that connect us while making us lonelier. We've accumulated knowledge while losing wisdom. We've extended lifespans without knowing what to do with the extra years. We've mapped the human genome but can't agree on basic ethical principles. We split the atom and reached the moon, yet we still kill each other over the same tribal instincts that drove us when we lived in caves. Progress is a story we tell ourselves to feel like we're going somewhere. But where? Toward what? We measure advancement in technological capability, but capability without purpose is just accumulated potential for both creation and destruction, and we've proven ourselves remarkably efficient at both. We created something curious in the middle of all this. Time. Not real time, but human time. Seconds, minutes, hours, years. All of these are just desperate attempts to organize chaos. A day is a rotation of the Earth. A year is one orbit around the sun. An average human life is about 78 of those orbits. It sounds like a lot until it isn't. After that, the brain fails. 1,000 years still makes some sense. 10,000, maybe. After that, everything becomes empty abstraction. You can know that the universe is 13.8 billion years old, but you cannot feel it, you cannot imagine it, you cannot truly comprehend it. And here's what that means in practice. Everything you think is ancient, the pyramids, the Roman Empire, the oldest trees, the deepest traditions, all of it is microscopic. Human civilization is about 10,000 years old. That's 0.0025% of Earth's history. Anatomically modern humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years. That's still less than 0.01% of the planet's timeline. We are not old. We are barely here. Your entire life, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, old age, is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. The most significant events in human history, the wars that killed millions, the empires that shaped continents, the ideas that changed everything, all of it is recent noise in a system that has been running for billions of years without us, and will continue for billions more after we're gone.
And here's the most disturbing detail. In the time of the universe, almost nothing has happened yet. It has barely begun. We can predict the distant future with more precision than we understand the beginning. We know when the sun will die. We know the Milky Way will collide with Andromeda. We know the universe is expanding, and worse, accelerating. But we do not know what happened between absolute nothingness and something. That microscopic interval of time hides everything that truly matters. Or perhaps it hides the fact that there was never anything to matter. The Big Bang happened approximately 13.8 billion years ago. The sun will become a red giant in about 5 billion years, incinerating Earth long before that. Black holes will evaporate through Hawking radiation over timescales of 10 to the 100 years. The heat death of the universe, when entropy reaches maximum, when no energy gradients exist, when nothing can happen anymore, that's estimated at 10 to the 10 to 120 years from now, numbers so large they lose meaning. We exist in the first few seconds of a story that will run for an incomprehensible eternity. And in those final eons, there will be no record that we were ever here, no trace, no memory, not even ruins. Just cold, uniform emptiness, where once there was complexity. As far as we know, we are the only conscious beings. And the irony is that we don't even know what consciousness is. We created consciousness only to realize how small we are. The more we understand, the less central we become. We thought we were the center of the universe. Then we learned we orbit the sun. We thought our sun was special. Then we learned it's one of hundreds of billions. We thought our galaxy was everything. Then we learned it's one of trillions. Each discovery makes us smaller. Each answer generates 100 new questions, all of them humbling. And consciousness itself remains a mystery. We know it emerges from brain activity, but we cannot explain how electrical signals become subjective experience. We cannot explain why there is something it feels like to be you. The hard problem of consciousness remains unsolved, possibly unsolvable. We are the universe experiencing itself, and we cannot even explain how that works. You were probably born in a hospital. For a few months, maybe years, you were the center of someone's world. After that, no longer. Every day, about 360,000 people are born. Some will change the course of history. Most will disappear without leaving a trace. This is not tragedy, it is statistics. Let's be specific about what disappearing without a trace means. In 3 generations, you will be forgotten by everyone who knew you personally. Your great-grandchildren might know your name, might have seen a photo, but they won't know you. They won't know your fears, your dreams, your daily struggles. They won't know what your voice sounded like when you were sad, or what made you laugh until you couldn't breathe. In 5 generations, you'll be a name on a family tree, if that. In 10 generations, nothing. Most people who have ever lived are now completely forgotten. Not metaphorically forgotten, literally erased from memory. No one knows their names. No one remembers what they did. Billions of human lives full of love and pain and hope reduced to zero. And you are not special, neither am I. We are part of the same statistical wave, living, feeling, thinking ourselves important, then disappearing into the same silence that swallowed everyone before us. And remember, Earth is just one planet. The solar system is just one among billions. Our galaxy contains more than 200 billion stars. And still, silence. We have found thousands of exoplanets, many similar to Earth, suitable temperature, similar size, nothing. No signal, no answer. Maybe life is rare. Maybe consciousness is an error too expensive to repeat, or maybe we are simply too early or too late. The Fermi paradox asks, if the universe is so vast and so old, where is everyone? Where are the alien civilizations? Where are the signals, the megastructures, the evidence of intelligence spanning galaxies? The silence is deafening. Maybe life is common, but consciousness is rare. Maybe consciousness is common, but technological civilization is rare. Maybe technological civilizations destroy themselves before they can colonize space. Maybe they exist, but have no interest in contacting us. Maybe the distances are simply too vast, the timescales too misaligned. Maybe we are screaming into a void that has no one listening because there is no one there. Or maybe, and this is the most unsettling possibility, maybe we are it. Maybe in this incomprehensible expanse of space and time, we are the only ones asking questions, the only ones capable of wondering why. And if that's true, what does it mean? That consciousness is so improbable it happened only once? That we are the universe's only attempt at understanding itself? Neither answer is comforting. In 4.5 billion years, Andromeda and the Milky Way will collide. You will not be here. No one you love will be here. Earth itself will likely have already been swallowed by the sun. And still, the universe will not notice. Billions of years, on a scale of trillions, are irrelevant. The universe slowly moves toward cold, darkness, immobility. Stars die, lights go out, one by one. What remains are white dwarfs, neutron stars, black holes. Then, not even that. Even black holes evaporate particle by particle. Too much time even for the concept of time to make sense. In the end, there is no sound, no light, no change. Entropy wins. This is not poetic metaphor. This is physics. The second law of thermodynamics guarantees that all ordered systems decay into disorder. Energy spreads out, heat dissipates, complexity collapses. The universe is running down like a clock that no one will wind again. And there is no escape, no loophole, no cosmic reset button. The universe is not cyclical. It does not collapse and rebound. It expands forever, cooling forever, dying forever. This is the only story with a guaranteed ending, and the ending is nothing. So maybe we are a mistake, a statistical exception, an improbable coincidence. Nothing would have been different if we had not existed. And yet, here we are. For a ridiculously short instant, the universe looks at itself through us, feels pain, creates meaning, invents stories. But let's be honest about what that means. We create meaning because we cannot survive without it, not philosophically, biologically. The human brain is a meaning-making machine because pattern recognition kept our ancestors alive. We see faces in clouds, intention in randomness, purpose in coincidence. This served us well when distinguishing predators from shadows. It serves us poorly when trying to understand existence. So we invented religions, philosophies, ideologies, frameworks to make sense of the senseless. We built entire civilizations on shared fictions, nations, money, laws, rights. None of these exist outside human minds, yet we kill and die for them. We need stories to function. We need to believe our actions matter. We need to feel like participants in something larger than ourselves. But what if that need is just neurological, not metaphysical? What if meaning is a survival strategy, not a fundamental property of reality? Maybe the meaning of life is not grand. Maybe it is not eternal. Maybe it is not even real. Maybe the meaning of life is simply to live despite all this, to create something knowing it will be lost, to love knowing it ends, to feel knowing it hurts. You can do whatever you want with this interval. You can waste it, build something, observe. None of this changes the final destination, but it changes the experience. And maybe that is all that exists. In the end, it doesn't matter. And maybe that is exactly why, for now, it matters. There's a rare, almost invisible moment when the mind stops searching for answers, not because it found them, but because it realized something more unsettling. Maybe there was never a real question. Much of what we call the search for meaning is not a search at all. It's a reaction. It's resistance to the raw fact of being here without a manual, without a script, without a promise. We are born confused, and we die confused, and everything in between is an attempt to pretend otherwise. We create systems, rituals, beliefs, anything to avoid sitting with the fundamental strangeness of existing. Because existing is strange. You did not choose to be born. You did not select your genetics, your family, your initial circumstances. You were thrown into existence without consent, and now you're expected to make something of it. And the pressure is immense. Society tells you to be productive, to achieve, to optimize, to hustle. Culture tells you to be authentic, to find yourself, to live your truth. Religion tells you to be faithful, to serve, to prepare for what comes after. Philosophy tells you to think, to question, to examine. Everyone has advice, no one has answers. Human consciousness was not born to understand the whole. It was born to survive the immediate. The rest is consequence. When you observe closely enough, you realize the universe shows no signs of intention, but it also shows no hostility. It simply does not react, does not respond, does not correct. This absolute neutrality is more disturbing than any idea of punishment or reward. A cruel universe would at least acknowledge your existence. An indifferent universe doesn't even do that. This is what people struggle with most, not suffering. We can rationalize suffering. We can tell ourselves it builds character, that it has purpose, that it leads somewhere. What we cannot rationalize is meaninglessness, the idea that our pain teaches us nothing, that our joy signifies nothing, that everything we feel is just electrochemical reactions in a biological computer that will soon stop functioning. We want the universe to care. We want cosmic justice. We want to believe that good people are rewarded and bad people are punished, if not now, then eventually. We want to believe our struggles matter to something beyond ourselves. But the universe offers no such comfort. It is not keeping score. It is not watching. It is not even aware that we exist. The notion that things should make sense is a cognitive addiction, an evolutionary inheritance. We created patterns because they kept us alive. Then we confused patterns with purpose. Reality never promised coherence. We demanded it. And perhaps the fundamental error lies there. We live expecting the world to behave like a narrative, with a beginning, middle, and end, with conflicts that lead to lessons, with losses that are justified later. But reality does not work that way. It does not tie up loose ends. It does not teach lessons. It does not reward those who endure more. Things happen, then other things happen, and most of them lead nowhere.
Random events occur constantly. People die young. Disasters strike arbitrarily. Talent goes unrecognized. Mediocrity succeeds. Hard work fails. Accidents happen. Luck matters more than we admit. And none of it means anything beyond its immediate physical consequences. We tell ourselves stories to cope. We say everything happens for a reason. We say what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. We say there's light at the end of the tunnel. But these are not observations about reality. They are psychological defense mechanisms. Reality is indifferent to whether we find comfort in it or not. Maturity is not accepting a hidden, grand truth. It is accepting that there may be nothing hidden at all. Maturity is looking at the void without trying to decorate it. There is a deeply rooted idea that pain must serve a purpose, that suffering must result in growth, that loss shapes character. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes pain just hurts. Sometimes trauma does not transform, it only limits. Sometimes what is lost leaves no lesson, only absence. And that does not make life tragic, it makes it honest. We need to stop romanticizing suffering. Stop pretending every hardship is a teacher. Stop forcing narratives onto experiences that resist narrative. Some things are just bad. Some losses are just losses. Some pain is just damage. And acknowledging that doesn't make you weak or cynical. It makes you accurate. The discomfort we feel when facing this does not come from reality itself, but from the collapse of the expectations we placed on it. We expected more. We expected existence to be bigger, more meaningful, better structured. We expected everything to connect in the end. But perhaps what we call an ending is just an interruption. Nothing indicates the universe moves toward a narrative conclusion. It does not close cycles. It merely exhausts possibilities. And in this process, we emerged as a highly improbable side effect.
a conscious interval between two unconscious states. Before birth, nothing. After death, nothing. The symmetry is uncomfortable but clear. What happens between these two voids is the only territory where anything can be felt, thought, or experienced, not because it is sacred, but because it is the only one that exists. You did not exist for billions of years before you were born. Did that bother you? No, because there was no you to be bothered. And you will not exist for trillions of years after you die. Will that bother you? No, for the same reason. Your existence is a brief interruption in an eternal absence, a temporary pocket of awareness in an infinite expanse of nothing. And during this interruption, you are conscious. You feel things, you want things, you fear things, and none of these experiences required your permission. You didn't choose to be capable of pain. You didn't choose to be capable of joy. You didn't choose to care about anything. These capacities were installed in you by evolution because they increased survival rates. That's it. There is no evidence that life was designed to be lived with intensity, happiness, or fulfillment. These are human expectations projected onto a system that does not share them. And yet, we live. And while we live, we react. We form bonds, develop attachments, suffer in advance for losses that have not yet occurred. This is not failure, it is function. We do not choose to care, it happens. Consciousness does not ask whether it is worth feeling, it feels. Perhaps the greatest mistake is believing we need to justify this. We do not need to turn every experience into meaning. We do not need to explain every emotion. We do not need to organize existence into a coherent system to validate it. Life does not require validation. It happens with or without our approval. The silence of the universe is not a coded message, it is just silence, and learning to endure it is a rare skill. Most people do not fear death. They fear irrelevance. They fear that everything they felt, thought, and built will disappear without leaving traces. But permanence was never guaranteed. It was imagined. Matter does not preserve emotional memory. Time does not archive intentions. Think about the people who mattered most in history, the ones we remember. Even they are fading. In another 1,000 years, will anyone care about Napoleon? In 10,000 years, will anyone remember Einstein? In 100,000 years, will any human name survive? And if by some miracle our species lasts that long and maintains records, those names will be meaningless symbols attached to deeds no one can contextualize. Everything fades, everything ends. Every empire, every artwork, every scientific discovery, every act of cruelty or kindness, all of it dissolves eventually into the same undifferentiated silence. The fact that something disappears does not invalidate its momentary existence. That only seems true because we confuse value with duration. Something does not need to last to have happened. The mistake is demanding eternity from temporary things. The universe does not operate according to what we value, and there are no signs it ever will. That does not mean everything is useless. It means usefulness is not a universal criterion. Maybe what we call meaning is just an internal strategy to cope with constant exposure to chance, an elegant psychological mechanism, but not a fundamental one. And that's fine. The most radical freedom is not choosing a purpose. It is accepting that none is mandatory. You do not need to do something great to justify your presence. You do not need to leave deep marks to validate your existence. You do not need to be remembered to have lived. These demands do not come from reality. They come from comparison. Comparison with idealized stories. Comparison with narratives of exception. Comparison with edited versions of other people's lives. Existence is not a silent competition. There is no scoreboard. Most of what truly matters to an individual happens far from any historical record. Unspoken thoughts, unshared moments, feelings that never turn into action. That does not make them smaller. The world does not function like a display case. It functions like a process, and processes do not need to be observed to be real. You are allowed to live a small, quiet life. You are allowed to not have ambitions. You are allowed to not leave a legacy. You are allowed to simply exist, experience, and then stop existing. There is no cosmic requirement for significance. There is no judge evaluating whether you did enough with your time. Perhaps the most unsettling point is this.
even understanding all of this, we keep feeling, we keep attaching, we keep suffering, we keep hoping. And this is not incoherence, it is condition. Lucidity does not turn us into cold, calculating entities. It only removes unnecessary illusions. Feeling does not contradict understanding. Understanding does not cancel feeling. The problem begins when we try to use understanding as anesthesia. It doesn't work. Pain does not disappear because we know the universe is indifferent. Joy does not lose strength because we know it is temporary. Emotions do not ask philosophy for permission. This is the paradox of awareness. You can know intellectually that nothing matters and still feel devastated when something that matters to you is lost. You can accept that everything ends and still feel destroyed when one does. You can accept that everything is meaningless and still find yourself caring deeply about seemingly trivial things. And that's not weakness, that's the human condition. We are biological organisms with evolutionary programming that makes us feel things whether we want to or not. Philosophy doesn't override biology, it just gives us a framework to contextualize it. And perhaps this is the most honest ending. There is no answer that closes everything. There is no definitive conclusion. There is no sentence that resolves the discomfort of existing. What exists is continuity until it no longer exists. Until then, we do what we have always done. We move through time with the consciousness we have, limited, fragile, imperfect. And that is neither little nor much. It is simply what it is. When the questions cease, there will be no revelation. There will be silence. And the silence will not be hostile, it will simply be complete. Until then, all we have is this unstable interval, where something can be felt before it disappears. It is not a gift, it is not a mission, it is not a blessing, it is an occurrence. And perhaps the most honest way to move through it is without demanding that it be more than that. You were not promised happiness, you were not promised fairness, you were not promised meaning. You were simply given existence, and now you're here, trying to figure out what to do with it before it ends. And that's all anyone has ever had. That's all anyone will ever have. So do with it what you will. Create or destroy, connect or isolate, search or surrender. None of it changes the ultimate outcome, but all of it changes the immediate experience. And the immediate experience is the only experience there is. Maybe that's the final, brutal honesty. There is no grand revelation waiting. There is no moment where it all makes sense. There is no hidden wisdom that makes everything worth it. There is only this, the rawness of being aware, the strangeness of existing, the inevitability of ending. And if you made it this far, you're already part of it. You're already living in the tension between knowing nothing matters and feeling like everything does. You're already navigating the absurd contradiction of being a conscious animal in an unconscious universe. If you made it this far, you are already part of this. This channel is sustained by a rare community, lucid, courageous people who do not run from difficult questions. If you feel you belong here, become a channel member. It is the most direct way to keep this project alive, and it also gives you access to exclusive content and dialogues. To those who are already members, thank you. You are the backbone of all this. And for those who want more, here is a serious invitation. Pessimistic philosophy, lucid darkness. This is not a course for everyone. It is a dive without anesthesia into the hardest truths of existence. Only enter if you are ready. The link is in the description. If you want to support in another way, super thanks also helps a lot. But just by watching, commenting, or sharing, you are already part of it. And here, that matters. Thank you very much.